Okay, so we are trying to find the length of PQ. We know PM is 1 7/8, and we also know from our picture that PM is congruent to MQ. We know that from the picture. So all of that information is given to us. Now, because PM is congruent to MQ, I also know that the distance from PM is equal to the distance of MQ. That was mentioned at the top of this worksheet that I forgot to start recording when we started. If it's congruent, then it's also equal. That's mentioned here. And when we start talking about numbers, we need to talk about equality, not congruence. The reason why was actually on a previous page of notes. So it's in my pile. I'm not going to find it right now. But the reason why is the definition of congruence. So if two things are congruent, they're also equal. If two things are equal, then they're also congruent. That's what the definition of congruence is. Anytime you go from congruent to equal or equal to congruent, that's going to be your reason. And you will learn that by practicing it. Number 3. What is the measurement of PM? What is PM? It's right above it. What is PM? So I can take out PM and put in 1 7/8. I just took out PM and I put in 1 7/8. I brought down my equal sign and I brought down my MQ. Why am I allowed to take out PM and replace it with 1 7/8? Substitution. It's yours, man. It's your property. Okay, so that's the substitution property that allows me to switch those out. Okay, now I'm going to show you something else. MQ is equal to 1 7/8. Why am I allowed to go from step 3 to step 4? Do we remember this property? I hear it. I hear it back there. Symmetric. Symmetric is like where you take the two things that are equal and you just switch their sides. It's like symmetry. You flip them around. Symmetric. I know this is not the most exciting stuff for me either. But we want you to be prepared for the error. So I don't want you to like freak out on the error when, you know, what I've seen before is like they'll have things like this and it'll be missing maybe a step or a reason. You have to like either drag and drop or you have to type in what's missing. So you won't have to come up with like a whole thing. You just have to fill in pieces. So if you can come up with the whole thing now, that's pretty fantastic. You'll be really ready for your error test. And then hopefully never, ever, ever have to take it again. I hate the error test. Okay. Number 5. So now I know that MQ is 1 7/8. So this is exactly what Jessie was telling me earlier. She said, well, that's 1 7/8. This has got to be 1 7/8. Let's add them together. We're going to do that. But in these proofs and these steps and reasons, we can't just add 1 7/8 plus 1 7/8 and call it done, because I have no idea what you're talking about in the proof. So what we're going to say next is I'm going to say PM plus MQ equals PQ. And you guys are going to look at that and say, that looks familiar, like we just did that the past 2 days. Does anybody remember why I can say PM plus MQ equals PQ? John, you remember?
I think there's segment addition.
You got it. Segment, addition, postulate. So that's what allows me to say I can add the two pieces together and get the whole thing. So once I've done that, I know PM is 1 7/8. I know MQ is 1 7/8. What did I just do by saying I know PM is 1 7/8? I know MQ is 1 7/8. What did I just do there? I substituted. Substitution property. What would be your next step? Emily, what would I do now? Sometimes we forget what we're doing. I'm sorry if you're talking. Sometimes we forget, like, what were we doing in the first place? What are we trying to find ultimately when we're done? What are we trying to get to? PQ? So that's what we're trying to find. So Emily, when you look at this, keep in mind we're trying to find PQ. What would you do? Add them? Yeah. I'm going to add 1 7/8 plus 1 7/8. Yeah? Oh my gosh, those are fractions. What's 7/8 plus 7/8? How do we add fractions? You add the numerators. 14. Keep the bottom the same. 8. If I have 7/8 and I add 7 more 8s, I now have 14 8s. Reduce. Reduce. Divide the top and bottom by 2. This is just random work over here. It's not part of my thing. Okay, I'll probably erase it. If I divide the top and bottom by 2, I'm going to get 7/4, which is 1 3/4. Okay. So I'm adding 1 7/8 plus 1 7/8. Just the 7/8 parts gave me 1 3/4. I still have the 1 and the 1. What's my answer going to be? 3 3/4. Okay, I'm gonna. I'll put my. Maybe I can leave it there still. So that's simplify. I have one more step. I'm just going to rewrite it so it says PQ first. Yeah, I'm kind of running low on space down here. If I went too fast with that fraction thing, hey, I'm making a video. You could go watch it again and again. Or I bet you there's a million different videos out there that are even better than mine that you could watch it again and again. 3 3/4 would be PQ. Why? Why could I go from 3 3/4 equals to PQ equals? Why can I switch those around? Already did it today, Lynn. Symmetric. And that's what we had to do. We had to identify the segment bisector, so we identified our segment bisector, and then we had defined PQ, which PQ equals 3 3/4, and then we showed our steps and reasons for finding PQ. So I'm going to stop talking for a few minutes, and during those few minutes that I stop talking, you guys are going to use this one, but apply it to a different picture. See what you can do. See where you get stuck. I'm going to walk around and help you. If you get stuck, you can ask me questions. I'm just trying to see who gets stuck where, if anybody gets stuck. Okay? So for this one, the first thing, I don't know if you even did the first thing at the top because you guys, a lot of you went straight to the steps and reasons. But the first thing at the top was, what is the segment bisector? What is M? Yeah. So point M is the segment bisector, and we know that because you can see these congruent marks that are marked on the drawing. You can see that M is right in the middle of those congruent marks. So my steps, I'm going to start with given information. I'm going to say that segment PM is congruent to segment MQ, and I'm going to say that MQ has a distance of 2 2/7. That's my givens. That's what was given to me. So anything that's marked in the diagram, you can call given. Then number 2, since these are congruent, PM is equal to MQ. That is definition of congruence. If I abbreviate it, you're allowed to abbreviate it. Don't make up your own abbreviations, but if I abbreviate it, you can abbreviate it. And the more that you see stuff and more I feel like you're comfortable with knowing that word or symbol, I'm going to put more abbreviations in. So right now, I just abbreviated a word. Do you know the word I just abbreviated? If you don't know that, then you need to write out the word definition, but I thought maybe we'd be okay with that abbreviation. Have you seen any other abbreviations I've used? What'd you see? Property. Yeah, I just wrote prop dot. So I will start abbreviating these things so it'll be less work for you at the end, but not till I feel like you're comfortable knowing them. All right, my next one is I'm going to say that PM equals 2 2/7. Since PM equals MQ, and we just replaced MQ with 2 2/7, that's substitution. Property. Number 4, now that I know what PM is, I'm going to say PM plus MQ equals PQ. What's the reason for that? Rakaya, do you know the reason? Segment addition postulate. Good. Segment addition postulate. Oh, she abbreviated that. Number 5. I know PM is 2 2/7. And I know MQ is 2 2/7. What did I just use? Substitution. Something I'm not abbreviation is substitution. Did I spell that right? Nope, I did not. That seemed short. Substitution. Okay. Something I'm not abbreviating is substitution, because if I abbreviate sub and I abbreviate sub for subtraction, then what am I really talking about? Yeah, I don't know either. So I don't abbreviate that one. 6. 4 4/7 equals PQ. Why? Simplify. And then I'm going to say PQ equals 4 4/7. Why? Symmetric. Symmetric property. All right. On the back. Oh, more of these. Don't worry, I did not give you a lot of these in the assignment at all. I gave you like 2, I think, in the assignment. Are we done at 35? Dang, how do we waste so much time? I just love talking about geometry. All right, I guess we get to finish this on Friday. So I'll hand you your worksheet. You'll be able to do like maybe a question in the worksheet. So maybe we just really focus on our flower that we are doing that is due Friday.